Hey, what's up guys, it's Bakes here and thank you for joining me for this top 20 video, my top 20 favourite songs of the year 2024. Before I get into this list, as usual, I'll do a quick overview of my thoughts of the songs that we got through 2024 on a grand scale of things. And I spoke about this already in a previous video I did this month, my favourite albums of the year 2024. If you haven't seen that video, go ahead and check it out. But looking back at the year now that it's fully wrapped up and in retrospect, I think it's actually a pretty solid year. It was about the halfway mark where I was feeling a little bit more iffy about it. And I think that's majorly because I was sort of comparing it so much to 2023. And if you've heard my thoughts on 2023's music, I thought it was a fucking incredible year. But looking back and putting that aside, I feel like 2024 was actually underratedly pretty solid with both the albums and songs that we got this year. In another video, I've also voiced how crazy I went with checking out new music in 2024, and especially albums that stuck out with me, and the ones that I did feature in my favorite albums of 2024 video. So that's mainly the music that I was listening to all through the year. I barely went back and checked out some older stuff. It was really hard to come across singles because, as I said, these new albums that stuck with me I just had on constant replay and were checking out and whatever. But like always with my top 20 songs and music videos and whatever, I limit it to 2 entries max per artist. But you will be seeing a few double ups in this video because, as I said, with that being my listening pattern for 2024, just constant new music and the same albums sort of on rotation, you will see a couple of double ups in today's video. But like I was saying, I feel like this year was an underrated year for music, both albums and songs. Like I said, especially in retrospect and looking back and getting to take a breath, I go, you know what? It was actually pretty fucking good. So without delaying any longer, because these videos normally take too long as is, let's move into it. My top 20 list of my favourite songs of 2024. So kicking off my top 20 list, coming in at my number 20 is the band Judgment and their song Solace and Stillness. Everyone complains about their phone listening into what they say and spying on them and targeted advertising, but that's literally how I came across this song on Instagram. It came up in an advert and I'm like, this is really fucking cool. It's no surprise to anybody that I'm a fan of post-hardcore music. It pops up on my channel here all the time. But I especially love when you come across a band or a song that can pull off a really strong chorus, as in they find the balance of having these heavy, unclean, screaming verses majority of the time, and then they can balance that with a melodic chorus. And like I said, I'm a big fan of when they can pull off those melodic choruses, find the balance between, and that's the perfect example here. Just these enchanting, catchy choruses. And then I'm not saying that the verses are not as good, but the balance that this song brings together is really fucking solid. Upon first listen, as I said, just on that little Instagram reel or something that it was, it had me curious, but the more I've listened to it, the more it's just become infectious and just a song that has put sort of Judgment on this radar. I'm really keen to see what they do in the future. So my number 20 goes to Solace and Stillness by the band Judgment. And a complete 180 from what we just featured, but now I have at my number 19 Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter. I mean, it's quite obvious that this is not the normal type of music that I feature on my channel, and I don't overly listen to this sort of stuff. And especially within scenes of music that I listen to, you see it online, it's kind of fun to poke fun at this, basic white girl pop artist music and whatever. You always see the memes that their music sounds like unseasoned chicken breasts, and it makes me laugh and whatever. But I've always said I like what I like. It just happens to be majority of what I listen to is what I feature here on my channel. I try not to pigeonhole myself. I try to listen to as much genres and styles as I can. But like I said, majority of what I listen to and therefore float towards is what I feature here on my channel. But every now and then I like to listen to some radio friendly stuff, some more mainstream things, and honestly a lot of female pop music and everything is like right on my radar at the moment. But this was my first ever sample of Sabrina Carpenter. I'd never heard of her before this song. I guess I was living under a rock because everyone was like, oh my god, this is obviously Sabrina Carpenter. Never heard of her before this song. But this song is fun, it's catchy, it's definitely playful if you're listening to the lyrics and whatever. I actually ended up really enjoying her album, even though it didn't make my favourites list of 2024. But I'm literally on the point I might actually just end up getting around to picking it up. There's a lot of good music off that album. Taste is a song that really shot up there for me. Please, 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 Juno, Bad Chem. But I think the reason why I have Espresso here was the song that kicked it off. You know, like I said, I didn't even know who she was before this song. Another thing that really pushed Espresso over the edge, if you haven't heard Wallow's cover on Sirius, they did a cover of this song, acoustic on the guitars, really melodic, slower. I'll actually feature a little sample of it here in the video if I remember to do so.
Down, left, right, oh, switch it up like Nintendo. Say you can't sleep, baby, I know that's not me, Espresso.
But yeah, Wallow's cover is definitely another reason why Espresso got the edge here. I know it's sort of cheating, but like I said, sometimes you just gotta venture out, admit, you know, it's not me putting on a front saying like, oh, I don't like Taylor Swift or Sabrina Carpenter because of the reasons I said before. It just happens to be not what I normally listen to, but this was a good venture. I enjoyed it. Sometimes it's fun to just listen to what everyone else is listening to, and there's nothing wrong with that. So my number 19, Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter. Alright, getting back on track for the type of music that I'm normally known for, my number 18, What Am I Doing by Alien Ant Farm. The instrumentals for this one is really unique. It's kind of like this western funk kind of vibe to them, which is, like, as I said, very unique, and it suits the lyrics very well because the whole thing is kind of mirroring this like almost Mexican standoff kind of vibe. The song lyrically, you know, it's about your partner asking for so much and not really showing love or care back, so then you start asking the question, why should I care in return? Like, what am I even doing here? I'm wasting my time when, you know, I'm not getting the same thing back from you that you want from me. Sound wise, as I said, very unique, but it works very well. It's extremely catchy, groovy, while also being hard hitting when it needs to be because of course it's Alien Ant Farm. Still carries a lot of their vibes and what they're known for. So my number 18, What Am I Doing by the band Alien Ant Farm. And Eminem comes in at my number 17 with his track Houdini. This was the first sample that we heard off his new 2024 album, The Death of Slim Shady. And the most obvious and common response that we got with this song was that it sounds like old school Slim Shady, and especially from those earlier eras of his career. And though I understand that response, and I do get it, if you actually listen to the song, it's pretty much exactly what he's saying throughout it. So it's not like you've made this revolutionary discovery by saying these things. Like I said, that's pretty much what the song is about. I heard people say that this is him just going for success based off nostalgia and targeting what worked for him in his Slim Shady prime. But regardless of that, this song is fun and catchy as fuck. Everyone looks so fondly back on songs like My Name Is, The Real Slim Shady, or Without Me. And this song is just kind of like a newer version of songs like those. And that's not me saying that this song is as good as those classics, but I feel like a couple of years down the track, a decade, 5 years, whatever it will be, I think we'll look back at Houdini sort of in the same category as those songs, where it's just fun to have on in parties and listen to and have a laugh and go, yep, that is Slim Shady, that is Eminem. I love the use of Abracadabra as a sample, through the beat, but then also in the chorus, Abracadabra. Just really catchy. So my number 17 goes to Houdini by Eminem. And coming in at my number 16 is the song Bomb.com by the band Red Hook. So many addictive, catchy songs off the first half of their new 2024 album Mutation, but this was the one that like really stood out and like grabbed me by the throat first. The song kicks off with a bang, literally just goes send it, and then just goes straight into these heavy instrumentals. It's so fucking fun, chaotic, but everyone knows what Red Hook's like in that sort of department. Into these short, sharp, almost rapid fire rapping verses, which is also really cool. And it is really easy to get distracted by the rhythm and flow of this song, but listening to the lyrics and the message is also really interesting. This song is about calling out someone who is seemingly in the music industry, but also clearly a male figure who must have thrown unnecessary shade at Red Hook. And I don't know the full backstory at all. I'm just sort of guessing that there's something going on. So if you know the context in deeper detail, let me know in the comments below. But you know, lines about toxic masculinity, just in general, someone, I'm guessing this person being really full of themselves. This person also must have said somewhere that chick bands are so cringe, because that's also thrown into the song there as well. Definitely not true. So many good chick bands at the moment. But everything is rammed home in that banger of a chorus. The message of the song really gets its point across in that chorus, but regardless of the lyrics, I mean, that chorus just fucking hits so hard. But it rapping with the line, "You're the bomb.com, you're the motherfucking Don." Oh my god, it's just so fucking cool. That chorus or line in particular, I've been singing over and over in my head ever since I heard this song for the first time. And I mean, like I said, it's Red Hook. They make fun, catchy, ear candy music, so put the message aside, it's still an awesome fucking song, but putting them together, I mean, one of my favourites off the album. So coming in at my number 16, Bomb.com by Red Hook. And coming in at my number 15 is the track Your Apartment by the band Wallows. Their album that came out in 2024, Model, was so close to coming into my favourites of the year list, but just fell short. But undeniably, this song was definitely a front runner off that album. You know, I'm still trying to listen to this song as much as I can, even though I haven't got the rest on replay. It sort of has this subtleness to it, very mellow and feeling nonchalant in nature. And the more that you focus in on the subtle moments in this song, the more that the little instrumentals and shit like that stick out, and I find that to be really cool and really interesting. It's kind of like the perfect example of all these tiny moving pieces coming together to make something that sounds so simple yet still manages to go above and beyond, if that makes sense. But then you get into these choruses and it really kicks the song up a notch, and I love the choruses here, some of my favourites of the year. It's just hard to not scream along with the line, "Who's been at your apartment?" I love when like a very specific moment of a track just sticks with you, and for me that's that line. And I love the way they say apartment, it's like apartment, like I just fucking love that. Sorry that I had to sing there. But Wallows themselves, they're just so underrated, and this song I still find to be underrated, even though it's one of the more popular ones off Model. But like I said, just making a simple song work above and beyond, it's a perfect example here. So my number 15, Your Apartment by the band Wallows. The track Wish List by Denzel Curry comes in at my number 14. First of all, I'm addicted to the instrumental used off this song. It's so simple yet melodic. The only time it like really picks up is with some like quick trumpets, but overall it's just very chill, very smooth instrumental. I love it. I love like the little humming melodies in there. It reminds me so much of the Cranberries for some reason, like those little hums and murmurs. Love it though. But I also really enjoy the meaning of this song, you know, women exploiting men for love and for credit. And the message is clear and translated really well. And I think that's what I'll get into. That's the reason why I love Denzel Curry and his style so much, because even though he's lyrically very clever, and you know, a lot of times when people are trying to be clever with their lyrics, it can get muddled. He's also a rapper that can get you very hyped and very amped, and you can have it on at parties and whatever. But he's not a mumble rapper. He's very clear with what he says, and in return the messages don't get blurred and get across fine. This song is just very chill. It's a breeze to get through. It's very quick. And I guess I'll leave it there. My number 14 goes to Wish List by Denzel Curry.
This is what you asked for. Heavy is the crowd. Fire in the sunrise. Ashes raining down. Try to hold it in.
Coming in at my number 13, I have the track Heavy is the Crown by Linkin Park, the returning Linkin Park album that we got from Zero this year with new vocalist Emily Armstrong. It wasn't a bad overall effort, it was just a little bit too hit and miss for me. The album was actually really close to making my favourites list again of 2024, but like I said, just didn't quite get over the line. But this song did not miss. Extremely reminiscent of Linkin Park in their prime, you know, Hybrid Theory, Meteora days, while also having a modern enough flair where it doesn't feel dated. Mike's rapping is on par through those verses, and the verses also have like this cool building quality, and then the choruses just hit every time, making you want to headbang and like almost mean mug. Just, oh, the choruses are so fucking good. I wish more of the album sort of carried this vibe and tone. As I said, there were a couple of songs that I really did like. I liked this album overall, just not enough. I really liked that song Two Face. That's one that sort of grew on me in the end. But I just wish more of them were a little bit more like this. But coming in at my number 13, Heavy is the Crown by Linkin Park. Coming in at my number 12, I have the track Be Someone by the band Trash Boat. I've been immersing myself into Trash Boat's later discography since their new album dropped in 2024, Heaven Can Wait, and that was definitely necessary because I was still in the headspace of their earlier albums, you know, Nothing Alright, You Can Change What You've Been Through, and Crown Shyness. You know, that's still the image I had of Trash Boat for the longest time in my head, and since this new album came out, they've definitely changed their sound a bit, but I fucking love it. You know, this song is just so fucking cool. It's just gritty, it's headbanging, it's like packed with so much attitude, and it changes pace and flows enough throughout the song to keep you on your toes, but not enough to the point where it's jarring and can throw you off. It's got like these fast-paced screams, addictive badass choruses, and then still has moments where it stops and takes a breath, which is like really refreshing and really cool. It's just purely badass, attitude oozing, just a really cool song, and sometimes it's just as simple as that to make a list, because the song is just so cool. I needed to have it here, so my number 12 goes to Be Someone by the band Trash Boat. So approaching the halfway mark, coming in at my number 11 is the track Rockstar by Stand Atlantic. The first time I heard this song, I honestly wasn't too sure how I felt about it. I just knew there was a quality there that I did like, and there was just something lingering. But the more that the year went on, it just became too infectious, and it honestly probably became one of the most replayed songs throughout the whole year. Not saying it's my favourite because it's my number 11, but definitely one of the most replayed. The opening and first couple of verses got kind of like this beachy, tropical, groovy feel, something about them. I can't quite put my finger on them, but if you guys have heard it, surely you guys can also hear that too. Where the choruses are a little bit more punchy, but still addictive as fuck. The song picks up as it goes on, like quite literally. After every chorus, it becomes a little bit more heavy, and I guess you could say traditional to what you kind of expect sound-wise from Stand Atlantic. But the theme and messaging in this song I also find very interesting because it's pretty much exactly the same as the earlier mentioned Red Hook song that I had on this list, Bomb.com. Having a go at this person who is full of themselves, massive ego, and I actually wouldn't be surprised if they're talking about the exact same person, and I'm not even joking, I genuinely am like 95% confident that they're talking about the same person, and I'll get into the reasoning why. Considering both are female-led bands from Australia within the same music scene, so I can imagine they're dealing with the same people majority of the time. Obviously the topics in both songs are covering the same sort of thing, but the song that I mentioned earlier by Red Hook, Bomb.com, actually references this song in it, which is crazy. The line is in the Red Hook song Bomb.com, Stand Atlantic said it best, you're a motherfucking rock star. like that is pretty much a guarantee they're talking about the same person. It's got to be. And it's also crazy to think Rockstar did come out first, but like maybe like 6 months before Red Hook's song Bomb.com, so it's crazy, what a quick turnover. But as I said, it pretty much confirms they're talking about the same person. Do like this song more, but whoever this person is, I need to figure it out, because I presume their name is John, because I'm pretty sure they say that in the Red Hook album. I don't know, I'm getting off topic, but I fucking love this song, Rockstar. Really fucking catchy, really cool message. Yeah, one of my favourites of the year. So moving into my top 10 and coming in at my number 10 spot, well, I actually didn't even realise this is purely coincidental. I didn't even realise till I read this sheet then, but coming in at my number 10 is Top 10 Statues That Cried Blood by Bring Me The Horizon. Sorry, that kind of tripped me out then, just reading this list. I'm going to leave that in the video there. Majority of the songs that I considered to be favourites off their new album, Posthuman Next Gen, were the earlier released singles, and I'm talking about the singles that were released back in like 2023. It's actually crazy to think about how long we were waiting for this album. It was meant to drop like so many times and just kept getting pushed back. Even though this one did eventually get a release and music video and strong marketing push behind it and whatever, the first time I heard this song was when I listened to the album in full from front to back. That was the first sample of Top 10 Statues That Cried Blood for myself. And this is a perfect example of where I think the band has found their best balance between their old and new sound. For those who know Bring Me The Horizon, you know, it's quite obvious that they've changed their sound quite a bit over time, but like I said, I feel like this song is a prime example of finding that perfect balance. The tech and pop elements don't flood this song, yet are provided enough to add this fun, chaotic flair to it. But then in moments like the chorus, for example, you know, it's almost true Bring Me The Horizon that, you know, older fans would sort of respect, you know, very strong, very punchy and catchy in those choruses, especially by the final chorus. It's just impossible to not be singing along by that point, and it hits so much harder with the screams thrown in there too. So coming in at my number 10, Top 10 Statues That Cried Blood by Bring Me The Horizon.
There's no point in making eyes, ignore the price. I know all about the down and out. I get it.
Coming in at my number 9 spot is the track Letterman by The Story So Far. I don't think that The Story So Far had as drastic of a sound change off this new album as a lot of people made it out to be. But this song is kind of the exception, because it definitely is the most unique song off this new album, and possibly the most unique song of at least the second half of the band's entire discography. But I love this song for those reasons. Early The Story So Far was so fast-paced, in-your-face pop punk, and the later stuff, yes, has kind of mellowed out a little bit, but this song is like more chill, mellow vibed, but the structure and writing patterns are so different to anything that they've done as well. I really dig that. And then the choruses do pick up into these more melodic style, catchy, kind of something that you would expect from The Story So Far, but just what they bring together is just, as I said, so unique for the album and so cool, and I'm so happy that they picked this one as a single and sort of led with it, because it's something new to what they've done before, and I was really digging it. It's another example of a band doing something simple, but making the simple go above and beyond and give it a bit more layers to what is a simple song, if that makes sense at all. So coming in at my number 9 is the track Let a Man by The Story So Far.
Just walk away like they all do. I won't hold you back. I know this.
Coming in at my number 8, I have the track This Is All My Fault by Neck Deep. From the start, I really did like this song, but the more time that went by with this album and having it sit with me, the more that this song in particular really grew on me. Even though sound-wise it's still a catchy, fairly standard pop-punk tune with upbeat instrumentals, lyrically though it's fairly bittersweet, melancholic in a way, which did stick out to me most as one of the elements that made me really like this song and have it grow on me, you know, through the chorus. You know, I've got nothing left, can't salvage what you can't find, go ahead, walk away like they all do. Just lyrics like that, I was like, man, this song is like harder hitting than what I first expected, but especially in those chorus, just so many of those lyrics stuck with me. But coming back to it again, still got that catchy pop punk vibe that you come to expect from Neck Deep. I just think the writing gives it a little bit of a deeper level. I'll keep this one short and sharp because I really like this song and I could talk about it for a while, but I've pretty much covered all bases. Coming in at my number 8, This Is All My Fault by the band Neck Deep.
I see your face. Find a way for you to fade.
Coming in at my number 7 spot, I have the track Fade by Alien Ant Farm. Now I'm going to open with a story that I have said a couple of times in videos leading up to this one, but for a big Alien Ant Farm fan that I am, I often speak about them on my channel a lot, often saying that they're really underrated or whatever. I actually don't own any of their albums besides their new one that came out in 2024, which I picked up for this year. My favourite album of theirs is Anthology, so I'm often on YouTube going back and just letting that album play through because I'm a big fan and I am running out of excuses for not picking it up. I got to get around to it. But I went to listen to an earlier album of theirs, Anthology, like I was saying, and I saw that they had new music, which just fucking first of all blew my fucking mind. And the song that was there was this one, Fade, and it became an instant earworm. I was impressed because it really sounded like some of their best stuff off their earlier albums, and their earlier albums, we're talking like 25 years earlier. Obviously, it has modern elements thrown into this song to keep it fresh and not feel dated, but moments do really feel like the high points off Anthology, as I was saying, an album that I love, and even Truant, which is an album that I also really enjoy. But don't think that it's made this list purely on bias or nostalgia, because it really did make it on this list off its own merits, because this song fucking rocks. I still can't believe how many people don't believe that Alien Ant Farm do genuinely have good songs. A lot of people bring up, nostalgic songs or songs that, were in the pop culture funnel for a little while, their cover of Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal and movies and whatever, but they're a band that is so much deeper than that, and if you're an Alien Ant Farm fan and you want to convince people, just show them Fade, because Fade is a fucking cool as song, and it is at my number 7. The band Boston Manor come in at my number 6 with their song Container. My sales pitch for this one making my list is just simply put, how fucking cool is this song? Because this song is a banger and just needed to make a spot on my list. I've got many friends who I hang out with who just aren't into the same genres and styles of music that I'm into. Quite often than not, I'm playing songs and music in the background and they go, fucking, we don't want to listen to this shit, Bakes, change it, and I'm forced to change whatever's on. But one time, more than one time, I've had this song randomly playing in the background, like not even like I've put it on to show this song to them, it's just been on through rotation, and my friends have been impressed. They're like, oh, what's this song called? This is pretty fucking cool, and I have to be like, yeah, it is. This song was an early release in the year, like from memory, like probably back in January, and it's just stuck with me this whole time. It's so fucking cool, and so many other tracks off this album as well have grown on me or also stuck with me right from the start. Tracks like Heat Me Up, that's been one stuck in my head since the album came out. Horses in a Dream, Why I Sleep, 2 songs that grew on me a lot. While I'm doing this, I'll give a quick shout out to the track Dissolve, easily the most underrated on their new album. And yet, after listing all of those songs there, Container has ran the long path, being out the longest out of all of them, and it still takes the cake as being probably my favourite off the new album. It's just so fucking cool. Try not to get immersed and caught up in the energy of this song. Show me who you are, show me what you're made of. Such a cool fucking line, you scream along with it every time. My number 6 goes to Boston Manor's Container. So moving into my top 5 now, and coming in at my number 5 spot is the track Sinking by the band Yours Truly. I pretty much adore everything about this song. I fucking love it with a passion. First of all, beautifully written song. I love when essentially a essentially a pop punk song is built upon heavier instrumentals and a heavier structure. Incredible vocal performance by Michaela Delgado. I had to get her name right there because I actually forgot her name in another previous video bringing up this album. But on top of that, great guest vocals from Bloom's Unclean vocalist delivering the unclean vocals for this song. I love when a song can find a perfect balance between clean melodic vocals thrown in with some heavy screams and tie them together so well as like this song does. It was a great choice to pick, heavier vocals as the guest feature. A great performance from our feature here. A great spot in the song to do it. I feel like that's an underrated part that a lot of people get wrong. You know, they put the guest vocal spot in such a weird spot in the song and you're like, whatever. And, he doesn't steal the show with his unclean vocals. It's a nice balance there. Just everything about the guest feature on this song just is a make or break. It's like how you should perfectly do a guest spot on a song. This song's just incredible, and even credit due for the fact that this is a song already on a stacked album with so many standouts, but Sinking has really stuck with me from the start. So coming in at my number 5 is Sinking by the band Yours Truly. Coming in at my number 4 spot, I have the song They May Not Mean To, But They Do by the band Neck Deep. For one of my all-time favourite bands, I have spoken about how their new album from 2024, the self-titled, did take a little bit of time to grow on me. I eventually just came to the terms that, yes, it wasn't quite what I wanted it to be, but what it is, I still appreciate and is actually pretty good as well. But the first time I listened to this album in full, this little song really did grab my attention towards the back of the album, and it was They May Not Mean To, But They Do. And I remember I grabbed this album from the shopping centre and I sat in my car. I didn't even move my car. I just put the CD in and I listened to the album from front to back, just parked in this one spot. And I remember my brother called me, and he also likes Neck Deep. He called me about something unrelated, but he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm just sitting in the car listening to the new Neck Deep album." He probably thought, what a fucking weirdo, but he goes, "Is it any good?" And as I said, at the time, it hadn't grown on me fully yet, and I'm like, yeah, no, it's not bad, but there's this one song I really like, and even then, I didn't even know if that was the song I was thinking of, but it was, and ever since then, I've just loved everything about this song. By far, it's definitely the most underrated song off their new album. A lot of people that do like the same type of music that I do, who have heard this album, they actually say that this is one of their least favourites off the album, but, each to their own. I understand it's probably a little bit more simple sound-wise compared to what they do, and it doesn't sound as crazy or fast-paced or pop punk or whatever, however you want to describe it. But this song genuinely reminds me so much of Blink-182. Like, when I listen to this song, I hear shades of Blink all the time. I can imagine Tom or Mark singing certain parts, and I'm just like, this is such a Blink vibe right now. And I get that they're both roughly in the same genre of music. Neck Deep are a little bit more, as they describe themselves, generic pop punk, skate sort of style, pizza style, where Blink, especially later in their career, have become a little bit more punk rock with their newer sound and whatever. And Neck Deep would openly say as well, Blink-182 are one of their biggest influences and whatnot. But this song just sounds so much like Blink, like I can't get it through my head, like how close it is. It sounds something that you would hear off like the Neighbourhoods album or that sort of era, or maybe even their new album One More Time. But I'm going to stop talking about how similar it sounds to Blink. It's a compliment by far, like it's so fucking cool. And the message of this song just really hits too. When they say they may not mean to, but they do, they're referring to their parents. They fuck you up, your parents do, they may not mean to, but they do. And I don't know, I just really like that message. As much as you love your parents and they do so much good for you, I mean this in the nicest way if my dad's watching right now, but there's small things that where you just go, I'm this way because of that, and it's not always a bad thing, but I just really like that message. It's something, I love you, Dad. If you're watching this video, I don't mean it as an insult or whatever, but I just think it's a really unique and cool message, and one that is just fun to think about and look through and everything. So I'm gonna leave it there before I insult anyone, but my number 4 goes to They May Not Mean To, But They Do by the band Neck Deep. For my number 3 spot, I have the track Big Blind by The Story So Far. Now, first of all, I know a lot of people are probably going, wait, pause, you said favourite songs of 2024. This song technically came out in 2023. And though you are right, you're also wrong, because I've done a little sneaky here. With the new album that came out in 2024 by The Story So Far, they actually re-recorded this song for the album. So if you actually listen to the singles version and then the album version side by side, there are slight differences. So yes, it is technically the same song, but it's also technically different. I've done a sneaky there, I've never done anything like that before, but it is a re-recorded version. And still looking back, to be honest, the original version probably should have made my top 20 list of last year, because that version was very fucking good. But I do like this re-recorded version more. This is what pop punk is, in my eyes, in the current climate that we live in now. The Story So Far have been mastering it for years. I mean, this song is fast, short, sharp, bouncy, melodic, fun. It's just all of those things and everything that you want from pop punk music, in my opinion. Compared to last year's single release of the song, this re-recording for the album is a little bit more polished, a little bit more cushioned, if you would say, maybe the best way of describing it there, cushioned. But I've grown to like it more. I really do like the single version, but I've grown to like this version of it more. I also think it suits the rest of the album better, and the tone and the vibe and everything. But like I said, I just fucking love Big Blind. Maybe another slight edge because technically I have been listening to it longer. It's technically had the longest time to grow on me because of that singles version of it. I know I've done a sneaky, but it's my number 3. I'm picking Big Blind by The Story So Far. Coming in at my number 2, I have the track Overcompensate by 21 Pilots. The very first time I heard this song, I was instantly hooked. Like, it's crazy how fast I came around, and I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. The vibe, the feel, the rhythm, like the swag of the song. The song has swagger. Firstly, the intro of this song almost gets to the song's halfway mark, which is like crazy to think about. Like, can you name another song where the intro just falls short of the halfway mark of the song? Yet it never drags for me. It never bores me. I never want to skip over the intro. I fucking love it. A little part of me feels like it was purposely that long, and eats up that much of the runtime of the song to go along with the title, Overcompensate. Maybe I'm reading into it a little bit much and overthinking, but like, as I said, I love the intro. It's a great way to open the song and open the album, because for their new album Clancy, this was the opening track. It really immerses you back into the world that the band has built over the past handful of albums. But then what is left of the song, when it gets into the vocals and sort of the meat and potatoes of the song, it really doesn't disappoint either. Strong rapping performance, catchy hook. Josh Dunn, as always, delivers on the drums. It switches up styles throughout, but it does it so seamlessly, and without seeming like overly gimmicky. You know, if you're not familiar with the world that 21 Pilots has built, I can still see you really liking this song. I don't know, I just, like, as I said, from the first time I heard it, I was immediately drawn into it. I remember I knew this song came out, but my brother and my dad were all big into 21 Pilots. I waited till I could come by after work, and I'm like, we need to listen to new 21 Pilots, and like, that moment is stuck in my head because it was so fucking cool. Love this song. My number 2, Overcompensate by 21 Pilots.
I'm navigating my head. I'm navigating.
And coming in as my number 1, my favourite album of the year 2024, here I have Navigating by 21 Pilots. 2 21 Pilots tracks to take out spots number 1 and 2 on my ranking. It just goes to show how much I loved their new album Clancy. And I'll try not to talk about Clancy too much because I want to talk about Navigating, but there were so many other songs that almost made it into this ranking. Next Semester and At the Risk of Feeling Dumb were probably the two closest to steal one of these spots, but like I said in the intro, I leave it to limit 2 songs per artist. But I have another little story to accompany this song. From the time that this album came out, I was obsessed with it. I just listened to it all the time on shuffle, on rotation. And I remember one time I was sitting in the back seat of the car going on this trip, maybe to a restaurant or something, and I had my headphones in. And I put the album on shuffle and Navigating came on first. The song ended, and then I put it on again, and again, and again. And wherever we were going, I think it was a restaurant or something, it was about a 20-25 minute drive. The only song I listened to was Navigating. Just this trip immersed me in the song and sucked me in. It was the only song throughout the whole year to literally give me goosebumps. This whole trip, it was like I was on drugs. I just couldn't get over Navigating. I was so in love with it. The bouncy opening is just so groovy and impactful, and then it goes into like these moody, almost haunting verses that sort of let you take a breath, and then it gets straight back into the choruses, and the choruses are just incredible, and I think they know that too, because if you get to the second verse, it's only like a couple of lines, it flies by, and then it just goes straight into the next chorus. I fucking love it. Even the bridges are brilliant in this song. I'm a big fan of when a bridge just ties the whole song together in a nice little bow, and that's what it does here. It like builds back into the chorus, but it's like stripped back and like bare bones. Just everything about Navigating I love. As I said, was giving me goosebumps, and I still get goosebumps when I listen to it now. I'm addicted to this song. So my number one, my favorite track of the year 2024 goes to Navigating by 21 Pilots. So there we go, guys, through my top 20 list of favourite songs from the year 2024. I'll try and keep this outro short and sharp because I'm sure this video has gone on for long enough. I try to keep the song descriptions short, but obviously they're my favourites, so I want to talk about them all the time. But if you have any thoughts of any of the songs that I featured here in today's video, let me know in the comments below your thoughts on them. Even if you don't like them, feel free, I don't give a fuck, say whatever you want. Or if there's some other songs that you want to recommend, you feel like I might like them, or like I said, even something that's out of the genres I normally typically listen to, feel free to let me know. As I said, I had Sabrina Carpenter. Like I said, some of those artists in those sort of mainstream pop genres, female-led, I'm sort of getting into Sabrina Carpenter, Chappell Roan, Gracie Abrams I've been listening to a little bit as well. I'm trying to get into that. I don't mind it. It's not terrible, but something about it is drawing me in. But either way, I'm rambling now. As I said, I wanted to keep this outro short and sharp. Thank you for joining me. As always, guys, I always appreciate it. And I'll see you for another video soon. Peace.